All right, welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. Let's get started with an incredible video today. Okay, we're about to kick it. Okay, we're about to kick it off real soon. Okay, and this one is a message to all of the cosmic skeptics, all of the people who question modern day spirituality, all the people who question any of this stuff. Channeling, crystals, any of this. You know, um, information. Okay. And I think it comes down to a deep-rooted sense of separation. And I say this because there might be a lot of atheists out there, and maybe they've delved into different ways of thinking, and they're very rational minded. And yet they sit here mocking at the mysteries of this life, of this existence, right? So that's the first thing that I want to bring to the table is this understanding that if you are really trying to interconnect, integrate your knowledge, your systems all together, have you really reached that conclusion that God doesn't exist? Okay. Look at the beauty and the geometry and the fractals of this world. Okay. I believe the Muslims also believe that mathematics is the divine, right? Um, there are Hindus who believe that we are all one world, one family. Vasudeva Kutumbapum, right? There's Buddhist teachings that show you like the ideas of the Heart Sutra, for instance, right? That brings in this almost invisible substratum of compassion that emanates across all beings, right? So the bodhicitta mind and that understanding, right? So everything really boils down to the surrender to the oneness, okay? And this is a deep, deep, deep concept, okay? So I don't expect everybody to get it right away. This is something to ponder over for a really long time, okay? It's not like an easy, quick fix answer you're going to get from this kind of stuff. It's usually going to be more convoluted of a topic the more advanced that you are in your spiritual tech, okay? Because there's so many layers and nuances to having a conversation like this. There's like spiritual jargon that people use, right? Or even just like academic jargon. Like, I don't see what the fascination with Sam Harris, Hawkins, all these atheist beliefs. I don't see it. Maybe I haven't explored enough or haven't um, allowed myself to engage in a conversation like that. But I see this, and I'm not coming for you, right? First and foremost, to the skeptics out there, I hear your arguments. Okay. I feel the sincerity in your voice. But I will not flatter you in this video with softness or consolation. I am going to offer you the weight of your own reality. You come wielding a philosophy degree like swords slicing at the shadows of the cave wall, mistaking the absence of echo for the absence of the mountain itself. So, really, the mountain remains. It is silent, it is immovable. It is whether or not you choose to acknowledge it, it is there. So I just want to share a simple truth that most people overlook on their journey of growth, life. Right? Life will test you right before you're about to level up. And this is not a punishment of sorts. It's more like a screening process. Okay. So a quality check from the universe. Okay. Because elevation requires preparation. New levels demand a new version, new level, new devil, right? Not just mentally, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically, behaviorally. It all will start to shift. And here's the key: the test often comes disguised. Okay. It's disguised through different things that you've done, right? So it won't always look like an exam paper. It won't always look like, show up as a delay or as a breakup or as a moment where your patience runs thin, or like a moment when a conversation, suddenly triggers your core wound or something like this, or the temptation to fall back into old habits again, your old self, right? So it's a filter. It's a filter. It's interesting, the word for Visuddhi, or this throat chakra, means filter, filtration, purification, but it's a filter. So it filters out the gunk, the yapping. The real wisdom comes through. It asks, are you really done with the past, or are you secretly married to it? The bigger the level you're asking for, the greater the gatekeeping challenge. Okay. And this is from the gatekeeper. Okay. Not because life wants to stop. Life wants to make sure that what's on the other side doesn't crush you. Okay, so it's a game of survival. And this is what I say, okay? When the pressure rises, smile. Okay? Smile more. When the doubts creep in, lean forward. Okay? Because that's the sign you're at the edge of your next level. Okay? But only those who pass this test with grace, not with force, with alignment, not anxiety. It's to walk through the door. The next time life throws a curveball right before your big breakthrough, don't say, why me? Say, thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the final lesson on this. Okay. Let me see who's tuning in. All right. All right. Cool. I'll just share this with the tribe. They don't know that I'm live. Mm-hmm. Okay. The test is the proof that you're close. The test is the blessing in disguise. Okay. So you ask, where's God? I can't find him. Okay. But let me ask you this. Who is the I that is searching? The mind, the narrative, the collection of secondhand thoughts stitched together by conditioning and identity and social politics, right? You want God to show up on your terms like a stage performer for you? What are you saying? Like a trick of logic you can tame into a syllogism? The infinite does not dance on command. You, you cite hiddenness as if the problem is on the side of the absolute. But perhaps the real question is, what makes you so certain that your instrument of perception is tuned correctly? I'm just tapping in because these downloads are coming in through the Nexus. I am merely the messenger. The Nexus is the Primal Sutra Nexus, conglomerate of spirit guides that we work with, okay, for peak performance shamanism. They're saying you bring a microscope to hear music, you bring eyes of flesh to see the unborn. And when it does not appear, you pronounce it absent. This is not evidence of absence. This is the evidence of miscalibrated expectation. You are like a man standing beneath the sun, demanding proof of its warmth. Oof. Because your soul, because your senses have gone from numb, from frostbite of the soul. You speak of geography, statistics, probability, as if truth bows to population polls. But what if the path is not given to the many, but to the few who have the courage to die before they die, to slaughter the idol of certainty and kneel naked before the mystery itself? Your argument presumes belief is the product of environment alone. But I tell you, faith is the rebellion against environment. Faith is the rebellion against environment. You know, when you have God with you in a moment and you feel that much more confident, Godfident is the real word, okay? Because it's not a con. You're not faking anybody. It's pure life force energy, right? It's Kundalini working through your system in a different way, a more advanced way. So faith is a rebellion against environment. The mystic is the outlaw in the land of consensus. The mystic is the outlaw in the land of consensus and compliance. Your argument presumes belief is the product of environment alone. But I'm here to tell you that faith is the rebellion against environment. So that means, as for suffering, you rattle the cage at the universe, asking why the lion doesn't lie down with the lamb, but perhaps the lion must be the lion. Perhaps the lamb must be the lamb. Do you mourn the rain for falling? Right? Do you blame the fire for burning? You want meaning gift wrapped and painless, but you forget that even stars had to collapse to give you light. I think they're telling me to humble myself. So I shall. Whatever the story unfolds. Okay. However it needs to unfold, you got to let it unfold. Okay. Can't force this thing. You got to flow into this thing. It's always been like that. You expect to look like indulgence, but real love is not codependent. Okay. It will not seduce you. It will not chase after you. It will wait in stillness, unmoved by tantrums, until you are ready to meet it on your terms. Right? Not its terms, your terms. So you've knocked on every door, okay? But here's the bitter honey of the mystic path. The door you knock on is the one you're standing inside. The door you knock on is the one you're standing inside. There is no key. There is no lock. There is no distance between the seeker and the sought. And so I will not argue syllogisms with you guys, okay? I will not debate the metrics of belief, and I will leave you with this. Do not mistake your failure to hear the music for the absence of the song. You have closed your ears because you demanded the wrong tune. The right tune will always play through you with the right resonance and the right harmony, right? You got to resonate with your life, okay? Emotional resonance. Like if I can take a really high vibrational feeling and emotion, embody it, crystallize it, fill the entire room with it, right? I have an ability to do that as a shaman, but I've got to notice, but it come quietly, burn the questions in the actions, listen again. Burn the questions in the actions, listen again. Because I have a lot of questions for my guys. Okay. I want to know this, I want to know that, I want to know this, I want to know that. And yes, they keep reminding me to reclaim the rebel within the shock merchant, dressed in irony, waving the flag. Be careful of these people waving the flag of Satan. Okay. Not out of faith, but as performance art, as kind of like a political protest. Okay. Of feeling trapped through indoctrination. So you call it empowerment, you call it resistance, but beneath the academic gymnastics, beneath the postmodern spin, what remains is the glamorization of the adversary. Listen again, okay? The problem is not your critique of power structures. The problem is not your demand for pluralism. The problem is that you need to choose oppression. You've chosen the identity and the archetype of the accuser, the divider, the opposer with life itself. And so you argue that the label Satan is just a symbol. It's a joke. It's a middle finger to Christian nationalism. But make no mistake, symbols are spells, words are seeds, archetypes shape the soul. You think you're standing against tyranny, but you're feeding the adversarial current that thrives on separation, pride, rebellion, right? Denial of transcendence. You wear the skin of the enemy and say, but I am not him. Yeah, the longer you wear the mask, the less you remember your own face. Right? This is not just reclaiming a slur. No, this is not like the Big Bang being rebranded. Okay. Satan is not merely a name, it is a story of the one who refuses alignment with God, the beautiful, the true, choosing instead to make self worship the highest law. So you say, I don't believe in Satan, but the myth lives whether you believe it or not. So do not mistake clever semantics for spiritual protection. If you think that your activism is noble, then stand on noble ground. You play the part of the adversary when the adversary's role is to mock and to fracture. If your mission is to uplift the marginalized, why identify with the archetype who delights in their downfall? I'm just painting it out to you, like clear as day, right? You claim Satan is about pluralism, yet what does it teach the soul but that defiance itself is virtue? You say we don't believe in evil spirits, yet you feed the spirit of mockery, of desecration, of inversion. The Bible torn in half is not just paper, it's a ritual desecration, and the ritual desecration calls on currents that don't care about your political intentions, right? You're playing with sigils that are older than your ideology. If you truly believe in compassion and justice and dignity for all, why borrow the symbology of the one who sneers at all three? You may be well read, you may be very well intentioned, but you are walking to a path worn down by thousands before you, and history has shown you where it leads. Rebellion is easy, integration is hard. So I ask you, not as a preacher, not as your guru, but as a fellow human being, if you fight oppression, why kneel to the icon of oppression's architect? If you seek dignity, why not crown yourself with something other than the adversaries? Why not reclaim your soul instead? Because I find that a lot more empowering, right? Am I allowed to? Hey, what's up, guys? Samba, and chicken nuggets here. Guys, am I allowed to like roast Sam Harris? Will they come after me if I do that? Oh man, need some energy and some Gatorade in me. Today's my day off the gym. That's probably why it feels like a different spike in my ribbon. Mm. Sammy Harris. Let's talk about Sam Harris, bro. I was watching an interview with him on this Cosmic Skeptic channel. And listen, man, this is my perspective of Sammy Harris because, man, if you really had to break someone down to be like anti-spirituality, like it's this guy, okay? Like, what in the world are you talking about? You're trying to make the most pragmatic system, okay? Okay, this is how I would say it. Okay, I need my sunglasses. I need to really tap into this. Primal Sutra Nexus. We're about to roast Sam Harris. How do we begin? The neuroscience Ned Flanders. Okay. Oakley Doakley. The mindfulness minimalist. Ooh, these are good guys. The man who meditates like he's paying off a parking ticket. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. So Sam is out here selling everybody non-mystical spirituality. Okay. I think that's another version of gluten-free enlightenment, right? It's spiritual, but without any of the spooky calories. Okay. Bro, your whole vibe is like if IKEA made a meditation manual. Some assembly required. Soul is sold separate. Okay. Let me tell you something, Sam. Okay. I don't mean to say this to put you on blast or anything like this, but when you say meditation won't tell you that you have a brain, okay, neither will playing the kazoo, okay? But at least with the kazoo, it has rhythm, my guy. He's so hell bent on scraping the magic out of the mystery, right? Reducing consciousness to a phenomenon of experience, right? Like it's just a side dish at a neuroscience buffet. It's just a phenomenon of experience. That's all consciousness is. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm over here full belly at the cosmic feast, right? Sipping Soma wine with Shiva, while your folks are out here nibbling on breadcrumbs of breath awareness, right? This is a Sam Harris meditation. Just notice the breath, you know? Just notice it. Who's noticing the breath, though? Where's the breather in the breath, though? You know? Let me tell you that, Sam. Because you ever chase that question? Okay. Or maybe he's just too busy selling the app subscriptions, right? I don't know. But see, your followers are out here getting blue balled by your secular sermons. Oh, goodness. Now the guys are knocking things over. Guys, I'm not stepping on his toes, okay? I'm just spitting the truth. He has no juice, no nectar, no prana, just clinical caffeinated consciousness content. Meanwhile, here at Primal Sutra, we're surfing Kundalini waves like a tantric Kelly Slater's, you know? We aren't afraid of the dark. We're not afraid of the deities. We stare into the abyss, and the abyss writes books a one-on-one call with us, right? You're playing checkers on the chessboard of the soul, Sam. By the way, those checkboard things of the Masonic temple or whatever, apparently they're meant to attract jinns, right? evil gins or whatever. Interesting, huh? Anyway, you're playing checkers on the chessboard of your soul, Sam. Meditation isn't just watching your thoughts like a Netflix binge on airplane mode. It's a battlefield. It's dragon taming. It's shamanic spelunking, right? Through the caves of your karmic lineage. Okay, at least later, yeah. But I get it. You gotta stay calm. You gotta stay rational. Yeah, yeah, we hear you, Sam. While you're busy disinfecting the divine with your sterile little syllogisms, some of us are busy making love to the mystery, man. You don't have to believe in God, my friend, but at least don't bore him to death. Okay? New Age was a middle finger to mediocrity, and I love that, actually. It's a love letter to human potential, right? Because what's more New Age? So if you call it New Age, woo woo, or, weird uncle Makaroism, remember this, it's not about the label, it's about the quest, right? It's about the lore, it's about the quest, the seeking, the raw, radiant hunger to remember what you've always been, you know? The vibe people. Okay, people will give these easy targets, right? Memeing everybody since 2007. Oh, there's the vibe people, then there's the crystal huggers, then the law of attraction girlies. Yeah, we know. We've seen them, right? They're on Instagram between every smoothie bowl picture. Okay. But here's the thing, right? Here's where you fumble the ball. A lot of people are confusing spiritual kindergarten for the mystery school. So they're looking at the cheap tourist t-shirts in the gift shop and thinking that they've critiqued the entire temple, right? You see the real OG seekers, right? The mystics, the tantrikas, the Vajra warriors. They're not out here slapping vision boards together and just calling it a day. They are in the trenches. They're facing death, shadow, trauma, ancestral curses, grief, like it's nobody's business, right? It howls through their DNA. They say it's vibe over reality. No, brother, it's vibe as reality. Frequency isn't a gimmick, okay? It's basic quantum field theory's drunk uncle mixed with yogic science and a little bit of, oh, I actually meditated instead of doom scrolling today. Congratulations. But I get it. A lot of these atheists, man, they got hurt by the grifters, the snake oil salesmen, the spiritual bypassers who told you that your depression was just low vibes. And for that, you have every right to call out the nonsense. And I stand by you. Okay. And I stand by you on, right? What I don't stand for is the lazy lumping of sacred technologies into some trash bin as MLM crystal queens. Try telling Padmasambhava that thoughts create reality is nonsense. Okay, try stepping into a Tibetan, religion where they feed demons their own body as compassion and tell me it's just manifestation fluff. Okay, you're not wrong about the charlatans, but you're shooting rubber bullets at the foot soldiers while the real generals of ignorance are walking free. You think your skepticism is keeping you safe from cult thinking? That's fine. But your entire worldview is still a belief system. And it smells like coffee instead of sandalwood, sure. But hey, ancient doesn't equal true, you say. Sure. Neither does scientific materialism, right? The age of an idea doesn't prove it wrong either, my guy. In the end, here's the real New Age heresy I'll confess to you. The only sin is arrogance, because whether it's from the guy selling you these overpriced, this sage bundle is more special than the others, that guy. Or the skeptic who thinks that he's graduated from the game because he's read a few studies, right? And he got burned by some low vibes, right? Some bad vibes. Stay sharp, right? You left the cult. Good for you. But stay humble. Don't go join another one called I'm Too Smart to Be Fooled, right? Yeah, exactly. So don't dissolve your boundaries before you've built a nervous system that can handle God. I'm going to end with this, guys, okay? have a lot of work today. Tapping. It's been a busy week, man. So yeah, I might have to take calls next week, but it's been really, really a lot of my time. But yeah, don't dissolve your boundaries before you've built a nervous system that can handle God. You're out here, doing psychedelics like a spiritual Disneyland. You haven't done the push-ups of presence yet, right? If you haven't built the muscle of embodiment, haven't learned to sit with your fidgety mind for 10 minutes without checking your phone, and you want to meet the void? See, the Tantra game isn't some fluffy non-dual meme where you chant, I am the universe, while your inner child is still throwing tantrums in the basement. Tantra is savage. It says, yes, all is one, but you better honor the two. You better respect the polarity, the form, the flesh, the fights, the hunger, the chaos. Shiva is infinite, sure, but Shakti is the play, right? The dance, the slap in the face when you try to bypass the word. Integration is the name of the game. You've always said it here on this channel. But non-dual awareness, that's cool. But can it pay your bills? Right? Can you be kind to your own mother? Can you show up on time? Right? Can you love fully, fight clearly, and build things that don't collapse because your inner world is a hot mess? The pathless path line is a classic mystical flex. But let me tell you what it really means. It means no path. It means make your path, own your path, carve your path with your teeth if you have to. There are, 7.58 billion people, right? So billion ways to God because there are 7.5 billion fingerprints. So there is no copy paste enlightenment, right? So stop outsourcing your soul. Stop waiting for some Himalayan rishi or a mushroom trip to save your ass. Wake up by any means necessary. Then train your mind. Make that awakening stick. Wire it in, lock it in. Arrest. I mean, I've seen way too many people, man. Their Kundalini is just a leaky garden hose, spraying everything. It's not a laser beam, right? But you got to sharpen it. You got to make it a laser beam, man. Okay? Be a Shakti in the world, not a Shakti hiding in the Himalayas or a Shakti overthinking on Instagram. Be the lotus growing out of the mud, but glistening with radiance. Be dangerous enough to disrupt the bullshit and soft enough to love anyway. Okay? So don't just sip on this teaching. Let it burn. Let it build you muscle. Then you show up like a mystic, like a warrior, like a damn grown-up. So Shivo thank you guys for tapping in. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. May the flow be with you. Stay legendary. And as always, upward spiral gang. Let's get it.